Hey guys, welcome back. I am Sudo. I'm going to be talking about this fantastic balance preview that we got for February 11th. These changes are largely really good. I like a lot of them. We will sort of go in reverse order from bottom to top, or at least do Warrior first because I know what everyone's here for. But if you would like to enter our giveaway, please do that and we'll jump into this. So if you didn't check out our video for it, light commentary on it, go check out the channel. Very, very good explanation this time by sort of Roy steering the discussion and Cal and Trig explaining stuff. They're getting a lot better at sort of at least covering the goals for each individual change, especially with larger balance patches like this. So I'm pretty excited to see that if nothing else. But we will jump into this and let's do sort of a reaction / commentary video on this / discussion with the community. So general, little preamble here. Hi everyone, welcome to the preview for February 11th. Preview the goals and explanation to be followed. Apparently Cal wrote this, Trig signed it, and yeah. Let's get this going. General, one of the main initiatives, at least I believe that's what they said, don't quote me. General, one of the main initiatives in this update is to reduce the overall strength of survivability, aka support sustain, we're currently seeing in World vs. World gameplay meta. While we're happy to see melee damage builds have viability in large-scale environment, it is clear to us that support options that enable these are too powerful. So they're toning down support, also making functional changes and culling alacrity access, starting to tone down applications in World vs. World, which is interesting because they already removed alacrity from affecting Siege, period, and now they're just like getting rid of it, basically. They'll only, I believe, only exist on Relic of Rivers and barely there. I did the math, and if you give yourself like 1 second or even 2 seconds of alacrity on Relic of Rivers, it recharges a skill like maybe 1 second. It's very, very minor compared to what it used to be, the accessibility of it. And it was only 2 seconds before, so base. Reduce the barrier cap, 50% maximum health to 25. I'm not going to read all of these, but I'm just sort of going to skim through the general ones. Relic of the Flock, increase the cooldown from 10 to 20 seconds. This gives you barrier whenever you use a heal skill, so it shares it out. And Relic of Rivers, reduce the alacrity duration from 2 to 1. And Artillery Barrage is getting fixed, so it caused an issue in the skill to always strike the center, so it was doing way too much damage. We'll also jump over to this page, which sort of has a better breakdown. It's the wiki. If you need it, go check it from the description. It should be in there. These are the ones we already covered. And we will actually go down to Warrior because that's what everyone's favorite class is, and I know what y'all are here for. So, big changes to Rifle. Explosive Shell, explosion of a skill will now strike enemies in a small circle, so not just behind the target. Brutal Shot, now fire a shot during the evasion instead of after it. So they played around, it used to be before, now it's after, now it'll just be during. I worry about this just because I don't really like skills that evade while doing something, especially if the something is good, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with the skill. Maybe it'll get nerfed, maybe it'll only get 1 ammunition, I don't know. But lots of other things in the game have evades and damage, so it's nice to see Rifle getting probably the biggest buff it's ever gotten in this patch. If nothing else, Rifle Butt, you no longer need to strike at a target to actually recharge the ammunition, and it will also recharge Kill Shot, which is your F1. And he said, I believe when Cal was talking about this, it will also recharge Gunflame, which is the Berserker F1 as well. Banner of Tactics, reduce the, this is interesting because you can also recharge both of those with Heightened Focus, which is in Discipline, which you run on Berserker because you don't have a brain aneurysm like me. So it's quite good there, just with the repeated refreshes that this opens up. It's going to be very interesting. Kill Shot now deals increased damage against enemies that are affected by crowd control or below 50% health. Both the 2 and the 2 and the 4 on both the cripple skill and the immobilize skill. I don't know which one's which. Count as crowd control effects, I believe, for Kill Shot. So, or at least hopefully for that. Hopefully it's not just knocked down from Rifle Butt, so we'll see there. Banner Tactics, resistance is going away a little bit. Rampage, getting some PvE buffs, interesting. Dual wielding is probably the biggest change in this entire patch, let alone the biggest change for Warrior. This attack speed bonus from his trait now stacks with other attack speed bonuses. Who knows if that's multiplicative or additive, but I guess we'll find out. Either way, it's insane because this basically translates to roughly 10 to 20% more damage, depending if it's additive or multiplicative, but this is crazy to think about, especially for PvE, since Arms stacking that ferocity buff was already actually kind of low-key good for Warriors, so we shall see. While wielding a main hand weapon, your offhand, we'll see if people switch up from even, strength or discipline to, axe, Berserker, or whatever it is. This is kind of terrifying, but we'll We'll definitely find out. I'm sure someone will figure something out. There's a lot more people labbing PvE than the other game modes these days. It also heals you if you strike a bleeding enemy, which you just kind of get for existing in arms or running swords, and it'll heal you for more if you strike a bleeding enemy. Scorched Earth, increase the bleeding duration from, or burning duration from 2.5 to 3. I guess that's only PvE, so we're getting a little bit of a buff to Connie Berserker. Natural healing, skill no longer removes wounds or conditions. It now heals user instead of percentage of the maximum health. So it's no longer really competing with, what's it called? The other heals mending. Basically, they were redundant, and this was just a worse version of mending. Now it won't be. Now it'll just give you a giant fat heal, which is good. Imminent threat, giving you a little bit of barrier, but the skill largely just kind of sucks. Break enchantments, giving you a little bit of power back to your spellbreakers. Same thing with Winds of Disenchantment. And we're getting some damage leveraged over onto Gunsaber, like I said. So not too disappointed to see that, at least for PvE, especially if it gives them more design space to sort of clean up a lot of stuff. Daring Dragon tragically no longer applies Alacrity, it never should have, and now applies Might, which is redundant with Immortal Dragon and Fury in World vs. World. Who knows what it does in PvP, right? To roll our crystal ball and find out. But the most exciting changes of the patch, we are getting our parrots, our golems, our jagged horrors, and our rock dogs back with the relics. So I believe this will just happen while in combat. They are very skeptical to see how that will happen in PvP in World vs. World because it screws with target cap, but we will see if they even survive in World vs. World, or even if they're introduced there at all. But hey, get your pets back, which is kind of cool for all my pirates. But in the realms of skills that are not pet related, Relic of Altruism, grant Might and Fury to nearby allies when using a healing skill. Pretty good. Always good to see more options for Fury application, honestly, because there's a lot of classes that were sort of designed around it that don't have it in specific places, honestly, like Warrior and Ranger. So this is good to see as an option. Really, the only options you have right now are Midnight King and I believe Pack, which triggers off an elite skill. So we'll see what the cooldown is on this one. Relic of the Eagle, deal increased strike damage to low health enemies. Very cool. Very good to see that's coming back. Relic of Earth, grant protection and magnetic aura nearby allies after using elite skill. It's interesting that this is nearby allies. I believe it was Selfish before. They definitely said that they were going to not put them in PvP at all, and we will see if they end up in World versus World. He said if they do, the pet relics are a problem in World versus World, they probably won't last long or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they just don't put them in at all after looking at it. Relic of the Hallsmith, already talked about this a little bit. Laser Disc, again, hopefully it's the old unnerfed version after you use an elite skill. Shocking Aura on elite skill for Relic of Surging. Thorns gives stacking condition damage when you're hit by a poison foe, which is odd, but sure. I wonder if this is just going to be a gigantic amount. And Relic of Vampirism. Siphon life from nearby allies when you are using a heal skill. Restore a portion of your maximum health on killing a foe, which is the big one. I am extremely skeptical because this was for a very long time extremely strong in World vs. World for Zerging. So we'll see what the numbers are on this. But these are actually not just terrible relics. We will see. You put it on the init page that the Might on Daring Dragon is redundant. I mean, everything on Bladesworn is redundant now. I cover, but appreciate it. More voices we have saying that, the better. Well, we'll see. I mean, hey, they remembered Bladesworn exists, so baby steps, right? Maybe they need to do this before Copium, they change the functionality. All right, that is all the warrior changes. Again, I'm not going to go through all the other classes. If there is something you would like me to talk about and react to, feel free. I will go through the major sort of overhauls. We are getting some nerfs actually to Fresh Air Tempest in PvE. It's still going to be good, but it's not going to be that good. Getting a bunch of sort of fixes / buffs to Spear on Elementalist for various game modes, which is very good. I honestly think it's needed it, and I'm kind of psyched to see Elementalist just opening up volcanoes and derechos and huboobs everywhere, all over World versus World. I believe Deploy Jade Sphere is getting a nerf in PvP. That was another big one. It's sort of too free right now, as they said, so you will need to play with the energy there, but it still won't need to like really worry about energy in PvE, I believe they said. For Engineer, notably, Lightning Rod is getting nerfed a little bit in PvP. It's kind of too free. It sort of needs more of a recharge since it is your big setup skill. But we will... hopefully that's only PvP and not World versus World to damage the build I'm working on, chat. But we'll see. Conduit Surge, condensed into a single dash. Maybe this will also happen for Bladesworn's Daring Dragon, or what's it called? Dragon/2. Sorry, Gym Adrenaline. But that's good to see. Hopefully it will actually hit things. There's a lot of hitbox changes in this as well, sort of getting into Roiling Skies, and I think there's one on Necromancer, if not more on Necromancer as well. What's it called? Shortbow's sort of getting readjusted. It now does increased damage. No, these are elixir skills, sorry. Shortbow's getting adjusted down. Elixir skills are getting adjusted up. That's what it was. Comeback Cure, a little bit less free regen. Bulwark Gyro, a little less barrier. Again, it's one of their overarching goals. That's why, I'm sorry, scrappers. But you still have the insane personal barrier, so you should be fine there. Heat Therapy, giving a little bit of a buff to Hollowsmith. Kinetic Accelerators will now trigger when performing world finishers, but it has a timer on it. I wonder if the timer will only apply to world finishers, but we will see. World finishers cannot. All right, it's interesting that they can split that functionality. You go, girl. I guess that's cool to see. And Trait no longer. I'm always interested to see what they can and can't split, chat. Trait no longer grants Fury in World vs. World, so a little bit less Fury from Scrapper as well, because Fury is kind of the best boon in the game, in case you didn't know. Guardian, let's be real. World vs. World Willbender getting somewhat of a nerf. Flowing Resolve is getting its ammunition count reduced. I have screwed this up in my comments, I believe. I thought this was the first one. It is the number 2, so they will only have 1 ammunition there that they recharge with that elite skill as well. So a little bit less movement. Rushing Justice, cooldown going up. And that's pretty much it, kind of, for Willbender, other than losing Alacrity and gaining more resolution, but alright, whatever. Other notable changes, Firebrand's getting slightly buffed in PvP. Spear is getting really, I mean, I say really slightly, but these are big numbers changes, so they're getting... It's still going to have the purity of purpose problem, where Spear kind of does everything, but it's going to do everything a little bit less often. I really don't know if that's the answer that I would have gone with for Spear, for Guardian, but I don't know, we'll see. Again, I don't want Willbender just dumpstered into unplayability. That's what happened to Bladesworn, and I'm not a fan of that. I wanted more people playing the class, not less, so we'll see if this is enough. I'm sure if it isn't, they will... I'm not sure, but I would hope that they sort of touch it up a little bit. Mesmer changes, other than PV nerfs down a little bit for Dagger. Illusion of Life, sort of... It's not going to be a real res skill. Apparently, if you had Barrier, it would turn into a real res skill. And let's face it, you had Barrier in a Zerg. So, it's still going to be a button that you could possibly push, according to them. I'm trying to think of what else. No more Alacrity on Mirage Mantle. No more Alacrity on Chaos Vortex, I believe, as well. Right, okay. So, yeah, Mirage Mantle is Chaos Vortex. Been a bit since I knew my Mirages, chat. But we got there. Got it right. And yeah, 1,000 cuts increases the projectile's hitbox size. Sick. This is another one that's not really super important, but Rain of Swords, I'm kind of psyched to see this go up in World vs. World as well, because Rain of Swords is a cool ability. It's beautifully animated, and I'd like people to actually use the sort of Gates of Babylon Rain of Swords ability a little bit more, even if it's just in Zergs. Soul Shards, which is the spear modifier, is getting chunked down a lot in PvP. Extirpate, however, is getting chunked up, which is the 5 on Spear, so we'll see. Dash Velocity is getting reduced by 25% on just Path of Gluttony. I wonder if this also applies to its... I think Path of Gluttony is the 3. We'll see if this applies to Gorge as well. Yeah, okay. And it costs a little bit more. We'll see if that makes it go a little bit less far. Who knows? Right now the tooltip says 450 and it goes 600, so maybe that means it doesn't go as far as well. We'll see. Death Spiral, I'm happy to see the, I believe this is Greatsword 2. Skills hitbox gets increased. Grasping Darkness, which is the Well, the Blind Well. Lower cooldown and intended in World vs. World is going away. And Executioner's Scythe, this is a big one for me. Actually, I've been pulling for Necros to get this back since they nerfed it. Increase the power coefficient from basically nothing to actually do damage and execute in World vs. World only. I am actually super happy to see this come back. It shouldn't have been nerfed and has been like 2 years since they've had this, so this is actually pretty cool. And no, I don't agree they shouldn't have given willbender a portal. This dual wielding effect gunsaber, no it does not. Or yes it does. Actually, so you wanna give me a free view on something that's ancient. I tested that. It's in my Bladesworn bugs stream. It's like one of the first videos I have on the channel. I don't remember if dual wielding does. I think it does weirdly or something. I don't really remember. There's one trait that does and one trait that doesn't. I think that Axe Mastery doesn't if you have axes, like the generating flow thing, but dual wielding did. But we'll see if it still does after the patch, right? But that's a decent thought. Sword, arms, Bladesworn, right? Or even XX, like Ocean Bat said. It could definitely tear it up. I've got some ideas. I've got some stuff cooking, but I really want to see how the trait works and interacts before I start investing too much of my time into theory crafting. Again, if you'd like to enter our first giveaway, just quick aside chat, Feb 11th with a TH in chat, and that'll be for 25 gold after we go through these patch notes. Frost Spirit, reduce the resistance. Again, resistance coming down. Panther's Prowl, getting a little bit less of a cooldown, which is the 5 on Spear. Same thing with Spider's Web. Spear's basically getting a buff in PvP, which is good to see. It's kind of underperforming there. I believe the damage is also getting buffed in PvE as well. So kind of psyched to see this. Ranger Spear's been pretty underperforming in those game modes, and I'm kind of terrified as well as excited to see probably the best implemented stealth weapon they put in the game. See if they can sort of bring that up to a place where everybody's happy with it. No more free might on Druid on the 4 and the 5. And Eclipse now increases the amount of astral force gained per strike in addition to its previous effects. Eclipse is actually already very strong. It gives you all these Condi things. So I'll be interested to see if this is only in PvE, because that's seemingly why they're changing the functionality. But Eclipse really... Apparently, if you didn't have free access to Druid form in case you wanted to heal on a Druid or a Condi Druid, so that's basically why they said they're doing this change. We'll see if that, how much of that carries over to PvP and World vs. World. Grace the Land, reduce the might duration. So less free might on Druid as well. Less free revive on Druid as well with Glyph of the Stars. I kind of think the Spirit's better because it can hit 10 things if you trade it, but we'll see. Maybe people will run the Spirit. It still has to get its attack off. Exploding Spores now removes boons from enemies struck, I believe. It's kind of dope. They already had some boon removal on Untamed, so Untamed is kind of going to be like the Spellbreaker of, what's it called? Ranger builds. Kind of good to see with all the boon stuff running around. Especially if you start running Untamed and like Zergs for this, because I believe Exploding Spores, it summons like 6 of these things or 8 of these things, and each one can hit like a lot of people. I actually don't know. Is there a skill that's used in here? 6 spores. Hit, not per strike, hit up to 6 times. Each spore hits once. Yeah, so somehow if you hit like... Yeah, this is going to be a lot of boon removal for Zerg. It's kind of good to see. Never had a problem with Astral Force. I was wondering if Signet of Renewal was run on Druids, but... We'll see. It's kind of a... I guess you'll just have more now, Dream, right? In terms of Condi Druid for World vs. World. Or at least more options. Blinding Outburst, hey man, if they were going to give me free flow generation, I wouldn't say no to it. Blinding Outburst, unless it was healthy for the game. I believe Lifesteal going up for at least Natural Fortitude, and Vow of Untamed increasing some damage modifiers. Revenant's getting, I believe, dumpstered a little bit. Some of the things on Revenant for PvP kind of going up. Spear skills, Echoing Eruption sort of going down. Condi Herald pretty strong right now. There's a bunch of Nerf or Herald's OP thanks memes floating around the community that I've seen, so it's interesting to see that. Power coefficients going up on a couple other skills, so we'll see if they bring Power Revenant up, Condi Revenant down. Cooldown going up on Inspiring Reinforcement, which is probably good because Inspiring Reinforcement is kind of nuts. It's the stability road. Same thing with a bubble, slightly getting nerfed. And now Pain Absorption, your free stun break that pulled a bunch of condies to you will have a 5-second cooldown, which is kind of insane that it didn't before, but hey, it wasn't spammable for other reasons. It's only going to be used in Massive Zergs. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Immobilize is never bad. I like Condi Druid. It'll be Condi Zergs and Pseudo. Anyway, energy cost going down on riposting shadows. People very excited on this for the few Revenant builds I've seen. I know Homage's friends have been talking about this. It's your evade, it's your stun break. So basically they're bringing, again, Condi Revenant down, power Revenant up in these game modes. Orders and above no longer applying alacrity, which is a big one. And I believe Amnesty of Xingje was the other big one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, Jade Winds is doing damage for reasons. I don't know. I can't tell if they were memeing on this or not, but like it's going to do damage, yay. Bonus for activating a Legendary Alliance stance no longer affects nearby allies, which it really shouldn't. Scale Alliance is outside of the supportive legend kind of like selfish, so I'm glad to see this. So take a drink of water, chat. I know people out there play Thief. It'll be okay. Trust me. A lot of these changes aimed at Thief are aimed at normalizing its initiative cost. Again, we talked about sort of normalizing the mechanical cost of things across PvP and World versus World. That's what this is aimed at doing. So they want Thief to be less sort of free in terms of getting back into stealth. There's a lot of things like Black Powder going up a lot by 2. Death Retreat also going up. Death's Advance going up by a ton, so you can't just, cartwheel away with a rifle. At least not as much. However, Shadow Rejuvenation is also going up, and Shadow's Rejuvenation is gain initiative when you enter or exit stealth. So if you do manage to enter stealth, you will get more initiative back. So there's going to be a higher risk, high reward, sort of in terms of playing Thief. I'm okay. I don't play Thief. I have no valid opinion on this, but I'm sort of okay with this, especially after fighting, I think it was 5 perma-stealth Thieves at once the other day, which was kind of insane. So we shall see. Shadow Shroud is also getting a mini rework where it's going to be more AoE focused. Despite, I've seen a couple comments on this, despite them calling Barrier one of the skills will now grant Barrier, I forget which one, yeah, it's literally the one I had highlighted, Death's Repose, gains buried and nearby allies at the end of the leap if I could talk. And that's kind of cool. I'm happy to see options for more of the support of Spectre at least shifted onto actual Spectre than onto the Scepter of Spectre. We will see. I really have no comment on this. Let me know if you're a Thief player how you think this will play out. If this was sort of happening on Warrior and we were getting higher, I don't know, adrenaline costs for things, but more adrenaline refunded, I would have to see how it plays first. I would have to see if it just outright kills any builds. I hope at the very least, if this is a huge nerf to Thief, these initiative costs, that it gives them some space to, barring a complete rework of stealth, actually add some interesting tools back to Thief. That's kind of what I'm hoping the Gunsaber changes will do for, Bladesworn as well. But again, smoke that copium. That's kind of what we got there. And we already went over the rest because we did Warrior first. So, yeah, let me know what you guys thought in the comments. I might cut this into an individual video if Pseudo could talk, or we might just leave it as is. But yeah, let me know what you thought. Let me know in the comments. Always down to hear from different perspectives. Again, it's helpful if you specify what game modes you play or, the different specs you play and whatnot or play against. I'm Pseudo. Thank you for this little interlude into commentary, and I am excited.